We're back under caution at the Michigan 500 as we take a look at the leader serial. This is Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Gary Gerould, and Bruce Jenner. These shots supplied by the Goodyear Airship Enterprise. Patrick Henry, the captain from Pompano Beach, Florida, floating lazily over Michigan International. During this yellow, Al Unser made a lengthy pit stop. He was in 5th place. Something seriously wrong with the car, and they made some substantive changes, but he dropped 3 laps behind the lead and is now running in 22nd place. Let's go to the pits for an update on that situation.
Well, here's one of the spark boxes they call the ignition system. This is one of the first things the team always checks. There's a system of things when they don't know what the problem is that they start out by checking. And this is always the first one. As it turns out, this is when they replaced it, is what got Al Unser back on track. Unfortunately, even under the yellow, he has lost 3 laps to the leader. It's a tremendous margin to try to make up, but the team has him back in the competition here in the Michigan 500.
There's Al Unser Sr. keeping that car in the action. Mario Andretti is right behind him on the race course, though well in front of him in the race itself. Roberto Guerrero, the reason for this yellow. Let's get an update from Bruce.
Paul, I just talked to one of the doctors, and they said that Roberto Guerrero, when he did hit the wall, he hit it hard enough to actually knock him out, and he was temporarily knocked out. So what they do, they have him in the hospital right now for observation. They figure he'll only be in there maybe another 15 or 20 minutes, and then they're going to let him go. He seems to be okay, but they're just observing him right now. Paul?
So we're ready for the green once again. As the course is cleared in the first turn, the PPG pace car picks up some dust as he brings them to the green flag, and we are back racing once again. Green flag given to Rick Mears, but Bobby Rahal comes down inside. Michael Andretti sticks his nose right in behind Rahal, and they both go around Rick Mears, so Rahal picks up the lead. Michael is second, Rick drops back to third.
The start was really kind of a bad one again, Paul. The pace car held him up, and the guy in 3rd place ended up first, but nonetheless, it was a good restart.
They discussed these restarts in the drivers' meeting. They decided they wanted more of a NASCAR-style start. That is, the pace car bringing them slow to the line. And when you do that, this is the situation that developed. A good battle for the front of the field with Bobby Rahal, the Indianapolis champion, now out in front in his Budweiser march. In 2nd place is Michael Andretti. Rick Mears has dropped back to 3rd.
Well, it takes about a lap or sometimes 2 laps for these cars to get wound back up after a restart so they can get up to full speed and see how they're going to run against each other. Look at Michael. He got really up high. Now, when you see all that dust raised like that, that's a lot of it is oil dry, and the car is going in a higher groove than the other cars have been running.
Michael Andretti tries to chase down the leader, Bobby Rahal. 3rd place is Rick Mears. There is Tom Sneva running in 4th. And Al Unser Jr., who started in 20th, is now up and running in 5th place.
Well, he's been doing real good, Paul, but I don't think his car's handling as well as it normally does. Another thing to note is all the cars will be running lower boost right now. In other words, less horsepower. It's kind of what we term as the middle of the race, and they're just going to save fuel now for the later stages.
As we watch Bobby Rahal in the lead, he is in a March car. Al Unser Jr., your nephew, is in a Lola car. There it is. And the Lolas have been having some problems.
Well, they certainly have, and especially at the high-speed places. They just don't have as much downforce or just don't stick to the track as good as the March cars do, Paul.
Here's a tremendous fight between the rookie here, Randy Lanier, and A.J. Foyt, with 67 victories to his credit. They are fighting for 7th place now. Lanier is just out in front of Foyt. Randy Lanier holding off that veteran who is really racy here today. Car into the wall. It's Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti, he was running in 10th, and Andretti ricocheted off the wall.
Well, he got mostly front-end damage, but Lord only knows what happened to him. He certainly wafted hard with the front end.
Remember, he hit the front end of his car into the wall in a practice accident at Indianapolis. He badly damaged his feet there. He recovered. Let's hope that this doesn't reinstill that injury as Mario Andretti climbing out of the car now.
Well, as you can see, Paul, there's a little fire at the back, but it really isn't any more than just a small fire burning a little bit of fiberglass. Looks like they have a little trouble getting Mario out. I hope he isn't dazed right now.
Well, Mario Andretti up in the cockpit as we look at the accident. That's Johnny Rutherford getting by on the low side of the course. Narrowly missed by Andretti. It looked like something simply broke on the car, sending Andretti up in the wall, but fortunately he had a full spin before he got to the wall.
Well, I'm certain something broke on the car because he darn sure didn't have any warning. And there's Mario walking around, so at least we know he's not hurt.
Mario Andretti out of the car, but also out of the Michigan 500 as we are under caution once again. We're back under caution at the Michigan 500 as Tom Sneva just completes a rather lengthy pit stop, 49 seconds, and it puts him well back in the field. He was running fourth, and he will come out to join the field in 11th position.
Well, the most significant thing about that is Tom Sneva didn't come in when all the other cars did. He came in after they did, which is going to put him completely back in the pack.
We take a look at the standings now with Bobby Rahal leading Al Unser Jr. The caution is for Mario Andretti. Let's get an update from Bruce.
Mario seemed to be okay.
Yeah, I'm okay physically.
What about emotionally?
No, naturally. It's just another one of those things. We had it was upper control arm that failed, and that was the end. Luckily, I traveled considerable distance backwards and probably lost quite a bit of the speed, and Chuck Lightout got out of the way of poor Johnny Rutherford because he didn't know which way to go, and then, of course, I got into the wall.
Disappointing time here at Michigan, unfortunately, but glad to see you're okay.
Thank you, Bruce.
We're ready to go green once again. The standings have changed as a result of pit stops. Bobby Rahal leads Al Unser Jr., then Rick Mears, Emerson Fittipaldi, Michael Andretti, and A.J. Foyt. That is Johnny Parsons Jr. He is not on the leader lap as Bobby Rahal leads little Al off into the first turn. So March fights Lola once again.
Yes, and actually Bobby Rahal's pulling little Al along by virtue of the slipstream that he's in, Paul.
Johnny Parsons Jr. tries to take little Al. Now remember, he's simply trying to get a lap back, Bobby.
Well, he is. If he can get it back, then he has a chance to stay in the lead lap, and that's the only way you can stand a chance of winning here.
So it is Bobby Rahal that leads at the Michigan 500, then little Al, then Rick Mears. Michael Andretti tries Emerson Fittipaldi on the low side as they fight for fourth place. And here is Tom Sneva coming alongside Johnny Rutherford. The battle for seventh. Can Sneva get Rutherford? Indeed he does. Sneva now has seventh.
Now you got to remember, Sneva started this charge from the back of the pack, Paul, so he is definitely very much on the move. Now watch this. He's working up on the number 8 car of Jeff Bravin now, and he's gonna pass him on the high side. That's something that isn't done very often in circle track racing.
Tom Sneva had a lengthy pit stop and now has to move his way up through the field as he comes up behind Jose Lee Garza now. So Tom Sneva rolling very quickly at Michigan as well. You got a glimpse of A.J. Foyt, 67 victories to his credit, and he is doing very well at the moment as he runs in the top 10 as well. So Tom Sneva really on a roll. Some puffs of blue smoke off of his tires indicate just how fast he's getting around Michigan. This is the battle for second place. Rick Mears closes in behind little Al.
Well, it's going to be a contest between March and Lola, but I really don't think little Al's car is going to match that one of Rick Mears. Rick is really fast at this racetrack.
You have to remember, Rick Mears holds the closed course record and the IndyCar all-time qualifying record. Started off this race from the pole, went into the lead, and ran some blistering laps then above 214 miles an hour. And there he goes again as Rick Mears comes around Al Unser Jr. and runs now in second place.
That gives you an idea how close the cars run to each other. They're passing each other with no more than about 24 inches in between the tires, Paul.
Tremendous battle for second place, Mears and Unser Jr. Remember, Unser Jr. keeps a close eye not only on the lead of the race, but last year he learned he has to watch the PPG points as well. He fell at the end of the season 1 point behind his father and thereby lost the national championship. The leader, Bobby Rahal. Now, if he can win this 500 and Pocono, he'll have the Triple Crown of auto racing and $1 million. Rahal leads at the moment. A car in trouble. Emerson Fittipaldi in the pits. Out of the race, let's go to Gary.
Crew working around as the helmet comes off Emerson Fittipaldi's head now. He unbuckles in a momentarily. He'll be coming up out of the cockpit. Here's the man who a year ago was the Michigan 500 champion. Motor woes have sidelined him here on this afternoon. And now Emo, a former two-time world champion, pushes on the side pods, lifts his body up out of the cockpit. His afternoon is complete.
Emerson Fittipaldi, one of the Patrick cars, out of the Michigan 500. The fight develops now for second between Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr. as Rick Mears is out in front. And look how easily Michael cruises around little Al.
That Michael's on a hot streak this year, Paul. I mean, that kid is good, and he's got his old designer back with him at this race. Adrian knew it.
Michael Andretti, the Craco lead.